So give us the scouting report, the positives and negatives of Dennis Allen as it regards his current role of defensive coordinator.
Really good coach, really smart coach, and I can tell you guys will see it first day of camp, whether it's mini camp or training camp. Those defensive guys, they're going to do up downs. Anytime a new player is signed, they're going to do up downs. As soon as those guys go to individual drills, as far as offense and defense, they will do up downs. And so for me, knowing DA and over the plus 20 years, because DA, not only was he a assistant under Sean Payton, and obviously we know the head coach for the Saints, but even being the defensive coordinator, he was assistant defensive back coach. And so I know you guys have, I think it's Al Harris from the Cowboys, who is tremendous as well. Declan Doyle. You also have JT Barrett, JT, a couple of guys on that staff, and they've done a good job, Coach Johnson has, of assembling that staff. But from a defensive standpoint, you will have an aggressive defensive coach. It's in his DNA to be a guy that likes to play man-to-man. He will adjust to what he has as far as defense is concerned, but in his DNA, he is an aggressive defensive coach. Will get you some exotic pressures. He's going to kind of his defense will be based off of what he has from a personnel standpoint, and so you will get some nickel coverage. Likes to play big nickel, and whether that's with the third safety, a lot of that will depend on what the personnel that he has available. I don't know Chicago's personnel as well, so I couldn't really tell you, but it's going to be exotic looks, and it's going to be to get after the quarterback.
Well, we could use the getting after the quarterback part. Certainly here, the defensive line did not come up big really the last couple of seasons, although Montez Sweat, the addition of him, helped a little bit for a time, but he was hurt for a lot of this past season. Deuce, if you're looking at the Bears and this transformation that's about to take place with Dennis Allen, what's the biggest weakness when you look at his time in New Orleans from your vantage point?
The Saints defense was best when they could play with 7.5 in the box, and so basically that's having a corner that can be physical, but he's really not a corner, nickel corner. He's really almost like a safety. If you don't have that now I have to commit another guy in that box, because DA likes to play two safety high. Now he will walk that other safety down into the box, but that's not what he wants to do. He wants to play nickel. He wants to be able to go have linebackers that can run side to side and be able to plug and play, but he also wants to have that nickel linebacker that can fill the hole and be able to make tackles. And so you've got to have at least one defensive tackle that is willing to do the dirty work, and then the other, that three technique guy, he has to be able to get after the passer. And if he doesn't have that, you better have at least a boy dog at one defensive end spot that can rush the quarterback on his own.
Why did he fail as a head coach, DA?
Multiple reasons. I think, when you look at it, injuries played a part in that role, and then not being able to really get the most out of some of the players that you were banking on. The Saints couldn't afford to lose a couple of guys. One was your center when you lost him for an extended period of time, and then the other part of it was, I don't think guys were accountable enough for some of the mistakes that they were making, and I don't want to say DA wasn't tough enough on them, but I would have loved for him to be a little bit more tougher. I mean, I think that I love him as a person. I love him as a coach. But I think some guys took advantage of him as far as, hey, not that I'm not accountable, but too many guys didn't do what they needed to do. And, DA could have came down a lot harder on him.
Well, that's a little bit concerning because we've had some accountability issues, we'll say. I know you saw, as the world saw, the Phil Mary play against the Washington Commanders, and that's one of those things that did not get, quote-unquote, nipped in the bud, if you will. When you talk about his personality, how would you describe him from a personality standpoint, Dennis Allen?
Yeah, now, look, when I say that now, don't think that he won't sit, and I know what you're talking about. Don't think that he won't sit him down. And it's going to be above Dennis, even as a head coach, even the general manager. Hey, we're going to suspend you, for a game. We're going to suspend you for multiple games. If something like that has to happen, and it has to happen. And so from that standpoint, he's not afraid to do that. I mean, so don't get me wrong when I say that. But from a personality standpoint, the players will love him. because he is a player's coach, but he is demanding as well. You've got to still go out there and do your job. It's not like he's not going to teach. He's going to be one that teaches the game. But also, if you could be talented, but if you don't know what you're doing, he's going to give you a couple of chances. But if you can't get it done, then he's going to go with maybe somebody that is not as talented but can do the job like it needs to be done.
When you watch Saquon Barkley, what do you see? Does he remind you of anybody? Is there a comp right now for the kind of football that he's playing? And it just from one successful running back to another.
I love how he's playing. I mean, he is playing like a back that wants to get even an extension, even though he just signed a new deal with the Eagles. And, a lot of that as well. The offensive line does a great job. But Saquon will tell you, he still has to break some tackles. One of the things that you see him doing a lot is getting to the second and third level. And once he's to the second and third level, those DBs don't want to tackle him. And then I think, his size surprises a lot of guys because he's a heavier back. I mean, Saquon goes easy, 225, but he's still running 4.4. And so, being that big, being that heavy and outrunning guys, it surprises some teams. And so getting to the second and third level, he's giving you the home run threat, and then his ability to be able to catch it out of the backfield, it makes it really tough for defenses to say, all right, we're going to put 8 in the box. If you're doing that, then now I'm leaving Smitty and I'm leaving A.J. Brown one-on-one situations. And so they've done a good job of being able to scheme and be able to get him in space with some duo runs. And you see some of the toss cracks that they're running. That's what that first play was where he scored. I mean, and they're doing a good job of getting him in space.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is G Walker, one half of the C&G podcast.
And I'm Ceejay, the other half of the C&G podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Hold on one second. We're going to get straight to it. What's going on, everybody? Can you hear me out there? I'm on one half of the CNG podcast, G Walker, and I got my crew with me. I got my boy Ceejay over there on the other side. How's everybody doing tonight? Ceejay, what's up, bro?
Hey, man, I'm doing lovely.
You doing lovely, man. I love to hear it, man. What we're doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is that we're going to talk about the Chicago Bears hires. We're going to talk about Dennis Allen. We're going to talk about Atwaan Randle. We're going to talk about JT Barrett. We're going to talk about Declan Doyle. He was hired on the staff as well. And then you also have, who am I missing, CJ? I said Dennis Allen. Al Harris. And we have a special guest tonight. Illinois Natty's coming through, Andrew. He's our special guest tonight. So we're just waiting for him to pull up, and then we have Allen. So it's going to be a loaded show. We're just waiting on a couple of people to come in here. So, CJ, what do you think about this? These coaching decisions so far, right now?
It seems pretty good. Doyle is from I know he played up there with Sean. I know he was up there with Sean Payton in New Orleans, and recently in Denver. So that's a pretty good thing, because Sean Payton was a coach that I thought that could probably help Caleb, and the fact that Doyle comes from that same tree is pretty cool,
Yeah, man, he's a young guy, Doyle, man. There's a lot of controversy going around his name right now. Who his father is, but we're not going to get into that. It's even a rumor going around that young Declan Doyle's uncle is Mike Dicker. So I posted that on my X page, man. Posted on my X page just because I had excitement just to see who this kid is, and it blew up, man. People are saying it's fake. People are saying it's not true. I'm like, man, I'm just a fan. It's cool that this kid, if he is Mike Dicker's nephew, that aura is going to be strong for the Chicago Bears for him to be part of the team. So with that being said, this is the other person to the CNG podcast, Alan. Alan is in the building. What's going on, Alan?
Hey, what's up, man?
Man, not much, bro. I'm just happy to be with my crew, man. I'm happy to talk Bears football. I'm happy to see y'all faces, man. and I just want to get into some football talk today, man. If the Chicago Bears staff is almost complete. They got the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, what else they got? They got the QB coach. They got everybody, man. It looks like a good staff, man. So we're going to get into it, and we got our other guest right here. Illinois Natty has just pulled up to the show right here. What's going on, Andrew?
Yep.
Welcome to the show, bro. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I gotcha. I can hear you.
What's going on, bro? How you feeling today?
Pretty good.
Man, so before we really get into the content, so what are your thoughts about how things are going with, Ben Johnson was hired, and, was Ben Johnson the first coach on your list that you wanted to come to Chicago Bears? Was he your preference? What did you think about his press conference and everything like that? So just what are your thoughts about Ben Johnson at first of all?
He was obviously like my number one choice. He was easily the favorite over my second choice was Mike McCarthy, but Ben Johnson outweighed him by so much. He had so many factors that just put him higher than everybody else. So
right. So what was it you think that separated him from everybody else? Was it something that he did with the Detroit Lions as far as his play calling? He resurrected Jared Goff's career. So what are you thinking, man? What do you think he's going to bring here to Chicago Bears?
Yeah, so over the past 3 years, he's had finished third in offense, and then first in offense this past year. I just feel like he could bring that to the Bears. We have so many superstars like DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and we're probably going to get a receiver in the free agency or draft. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, man, it's going to be very exciting, man, to have a coach like Ben Johnson. He looks like a guy, Allen, that, you could bring along with the Caleb Williams. Like, he wasn't my personal choice. I wanted someone a little bit more established, someone that developed a quarterback before, that developed some wide receivers, offensive line. So, but what do you think that's going to help Caleb Williams? What is he going to do with Caleb Williams? Ben Johnson, what can he offer a young quarterback? Even though he's a rookie head coach. I'm talking to Allen. Hold on, Allen. I'm going to come back to you.
Oh, yeah, you're good. You're good.
I would say he's gonna bring fresh ideas, modern, concepts, and I would say, and also somebody to bounce information off of that, kind of up to speed. I think Shane Waldron, you couldn't bounce anything off of Shane Waldron. I think Shane Waldron I don't think he's on the level of a pro-style offense, and I don't think Ben Johnson's going to be that kind of behind the mark. I think Ben Johnson just brings a lot of different, I would say, experience as far as play calling, gamesmanship, things that Caleb really needs, man, because this fresh staff, and I know the young guys like 28 to OC. I mean, he's not going to call plays anyway, so everybody's going to be learning up under Ben Johnson. So I think a lot of people got to understand that Ben's going to be calling plays, kind of like Andy Reid, Mike McCarthy, those type of guys. So we don't need a 28-year-old to be calling plays like he had Madden football or something. You know what I'm saying? So we got adults in the room. Ben can handle it. But we do need a young guy to be an incubator for Caleb Williams in the offense. I like young guys around young guys with experienced leadership. That's kind of like what we're providing right now from Caleb and the rest of the offense.
Well said, Alan, man. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I have to mute my mic so I can just let, Alan, don't want to interrupt him. But we're going to get straight to the content, man. We're going to get straight to the content. So we're going to start off with our guest to honor, man. We got Andrew in here, Illinois Natty, man. This is our new defensive coordinator, Andrew, man. This is the guy, man. A lot of people were clamoring for him. They were wanting him. This was a lot of people's first choice. So why do you think people wanted Dennis Allen so bad, Andrew?
So I did my research, and he's very blitz oriented, and he runs a 4-3 concept with a zone to man coverage, which I feel like we really haven't had in the past, and I feel like we're not over the past 3 years we haven't been blitz oriented. So just having someone like him in the presence would just really help. And I've seen what he did with New Orleans in 2023. He was like the one of the best defense coordinator there is. He's obviously the best defense coordinator candidate there is, and I'm glad we picked him up.
I love what you said, man. I love that we weren't a very blitzing team. We were a very zone running team. So, Alan, it's going to be a little bit different from what this team is going to be doing defensively, right? So can you educate the people on what type of pedigree Dennis Allen come from his DNA, and just what he's capable of to how he can make guys better on the defensive end?
Well, this is George Allen's son. So anybody knows about George Allen, he was with the Washington Redskins back in the 70s. So this guy's an NFL lifer. So he's been around football since he's been a knee-high baby. So the things that I like about Dennis is, like we talked about, the blitzing scheme, but also he also brings experience to, like, linebackers. Like, our linebackers in this scheme are not going to be so asked to be the tacklers, asked to be the coverage guys. These guys are going to be strictly attack football. So the defensive line, I'm pretty sure we're going to go after Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack loves
Whoa, that's a bombshell right there, bro.
I got a funny feeling Khalil Mack, he said some things like he was having some nostalgic moments the other day about how he felt about Chicago. And I think he's probably been hearing some things about Dennis going to Chicago. So, I mean, I got a funny feeling we're going to entertain a little bit during free agency so we can have him. And we need a veteran guy to go opposite of Swift. Like I said, we don't need somebody 1 or 2 years, then groom a defensive end in and out. You know, I feel like we need to go about four deep a little bit. So I think we'll be fine. But Dennis Allen is the right guy for our squad as far as defensive wise.
All right. Who was Andrew? Andrew, did you invite somebody else? Illinois Natty, did you invite somebody else? Hold on, let me see what's going on. Andrew, can you hear me? Yeah, his stuff is kind of messing up right now, man. We're gonna have to remove him from the stage. He can probably come back later. He'll come back up in the show. I don't know what's going on with his phone or something like that. You know, a lot of people have technical difficulties. So, Ceejay, what do you think about a Khalil Mack reunion, bro? That's deep, man. But he is cheaper. He looks like he got a little bit left in the tank. So, Ceejay, what are your thoughts about what Alan said about a Khalil Mack reunion, man? Because that'll get the people fired up.
It could possibly happen, and I think he'll be a breath of fresh air. Even though he's a former player, he'll be a breath of fresh air for the defense. Right. You know, he could be one of those missing pieces that the defense needs. You know, if the Bears defense is going to be more blitz oriented, you know, with Allen being the defensive coordinator, you know, Khalil Mack could be that piece. So hey, I welcome it.
Hey, you know what? Y'all know me, man. Whatever works, man. So if Khalil Mack can come here, man, and be productive, I'm with it, man. But if Khalil Mack's going to come here and be hurt, I don't want it, man. I want this defense to be ready to go come first game of the season 2025. But hey, man, I'm not mad at that. But Alan, here's some of the coaches, his defensive coordinators, some of his stats, man. Dennis Allen, man, he went from Texas A&M. He graduated from there. He was an assistant, and he went to the Atlanta Falcons from 2002 to 2003. Atlanta Falcons defensive assistant for 2004-05. Then, of course, he was with the Saints, defensive line coach. He's been around for a while. Denver Broncos, defensive coordinator 2011, Oakland Raiders, head coach, and we know how that went, man. We know his record was terrible, man. His record was terrible. So when you see all these things right here, Alan, what's the first thing that sticks out, man? Like, he gets a lot of jobs, right?
Oh, he's a lifer. He, like you said, George Allen was his dad, so George Allen got a lot of connects in the league, man. So he's gonna always have a job. But I feel like he's still effective at defensive coordinator. I think when we get to the head coaching thing, we all see some defensive guys just don't stick as head coaches, and it's okay. Defensive coordinator is what he is. He's a deep coordinator.
Yeah, because right here, Ceejay, here's his record as a head coach, man. He was 26-53 overall and never made it to the playoffs, bro. Never made it. So the chances of him leaving the Chicago Bears, Ceejay, and going to get a head coaching job, are probably next to nil, next to zero. So what do you say about this right there, CJ? Like, man, he's not going to get another head coaching job probably ever again. So how long do you think he can actually stay here as our defensive coordinator?
I think he can probably be here like another probably 6-7 years, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I think it really depends how good he does with the Bears defense.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think he's going to be around for a long time. This might be one of the last places that he coaches, man. He's up in his upper 50s, I think. So I think this might be one of the last places he'll be a defensive coordinator, man. You know what I mean, Alan?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if he hit that 50 mark, this probably one of his last stands.
All right. So we're going to keep it moving with the show, man. We don't waste nobody's time in here. So we got breaking news. The first domino to fall was Ben Johnson kept and stole Atwaan Randle, a local talent from Chicago. I think he's from Chicago. What is it? Al Harris. One of them are from over here.
He's from Chicago. He went to Indiana. Yeah, he went to Chicago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and here, you know, so what's your first thoughts, Alan, about what is he going to bring Atwaan Randle? We've seen him chewing out players on the sideline, a couple of wide receivers. He's very intense. He even looks like he can still play a little bit. But what do you think that he's going to bring to this team that we haven't had before? That we haven't had before, that certain disciplinary or functioning things or just staying focused. What can he provide?
Well, he's going to be a big on accountability. You got to understand, he played for Pittsburgh. The Mike Tomlin days, those Super Bowl teams, Roethlisberger. So he's got a championship pedigree. So that walking off the field that we got from DJ, he's not going to allow that. It's going to be a fight on the field. If anybody not giving what they can give, he's going to call them out. And he's going to teach our young guys. I hope he get a hold of Tyler Scott and get some of these young guys up to speed, Rome and things like that, and really get them on a professional level. I don't think they were really coached hard last year because you had Buddy, you had Keenan Allen's friend and DJ Moore's friend from college. So, you know, I don't know if he holds the bar like Atwaan Randle gonna do. You know, so it's gonna be another standard in the room.
Yeah, I feel you, man. So, CJ, we got Atwaan Randle, man. He's a former player from Chicago, man. The guy's decorated and everything like that. We're gonna bring up some of his stats, and this is coming from my guy Nick over just another year Chicago, man. I was rushing to do this, so this is what Nick had on his show. Shout out to Nick Rhodey over there. He's a friend. He follows me. We follow each other, man. So, Nick, I had to get some of this stuff. I was listening to your show, man, and I was using this to have us some research purposes. But, man, I had to hurry to come up with the show. But this is Atwaan Randle's playing career, man. He's a one-time Super Bowl champion with the Steelers. He went to Indiana from 1998, 2001. Played for the Steelers from 2002, 2005, and 2010. Redskins 2006, 09. And his career receiving yards is 4,467. Career touchdowns, 15 receiving, 6 kick returns. So, CJ, you see that 6 kick returns right there. He's a weapon. He can help on the special team side as a coach too, right? He can help some players over there.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna help out the receivers of his team. You know, and I think, you know, especially in the in the kickoff return game, he was pretty good at that when he was playing. So he's gonna be a big help when it comes to the receivers. But yeah, definitely I think he'll help a player like Tyler Scott, a player that we have not seen as much that we need to see, you know, in the near future. So definitely he's a plus, you know, when it comes to this when it comes to the coaching staff.
All right. So Alan, I want to ask you this because you probably know this. What type of wide receiver was Atwaan Randle, and what type of receiver will he be best to groom? Will it be DJ Moore? Will it be Rome Odunze? You know what I mean? Will it be Tyler Scott? Who is he really going to attach himself to? Like, hey, he reminds me of me. Which player do you think that is? And what type of receiver was he? Whatever.
He was a slot receiver most of his career. When he was at Indiana, he was actually a quarterback until like his last year, but he was a quarterback at Indiana. And then he went and played for the Steelers, and they put him in the slot. So he's being a slot receiver, you got to know the X and the Y. because you got to know their responsibilities on route concept. So the slot is actually going to be his specialty, but he's going to understand to get guys involved, to get guys to run routes the correct way, and that way he can open up the slot. So he's gonna really help the slot and it. Rome, he's gonna really push Rome. I think he's gonna be more of an encourager. But that's 6'3", 215 pounds. You ain't gotta teach him much. You just gotta teach him about being. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta teach him a little bit about being an NFL wide receiver, which he was. He was an NFL wide receiver, a championship wide receiver. So Rome can listen to him just like everybody in that room can listen to him. So he's going to bring a lot of cachet, immediate dividends to that room, man. I feel like I can't wait to see him, during the spring and the summer, and how he gets these guys juiced up to play.
Yeah, man, and I love him, man, and I agree with everything what you're saying. He's going to make the guys better. He has a pedigree, so guys are going to listen. He's decorated. He's a Super Bowl winner. You know what I mean? He played. What is this? 6 kick returns. So he's coming with a lot of things that people can look at, man. Like he had a long career. So people are going to gravitate towards that, man. So that's going to be dope to see. But let's keep it moving, man. And the next person on our list that got hired was Al Harris, man, from the Dallas Cowboys, man. You know, he was another Green Bay. He was a Green Bay Packer legend. He played for the Packers and torched us, man. So, Ceejay, what are your thoughts about Al Harris, man? And what do you think he's going to bring to the Chicago Bears as an assistant, as a coach to these guys, man?
Well, hopefully he brings the same defensive intensity that he had in Green Bay. Hopefully he brings that same intensity to the corners of the team. Stevenson definitely needs it. You know, he definitely needs an attitude adjustment. So I'm really hoping he's working with. I really hope he works with Tyreek Stevenson. You know, I really hope he works with him and get him situated, get him figured out.
Yeah, because Allen, he's actually before the news actually had a chance to break, before the ice got cold, Tyreek Stevenson is working with his company to help him get better, right? Didn't we see that he's already working with Al Harris's company? So can you speak on that? How they're already on Tyreek Stevenson's bumper? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you already know, like it ain't hard to tell. Tyreek Stevenson is a talented guy, but he's got a confidence issue, and he's got a lot of. I don't mind a person being a talkative person. Rasheed Wallace, Draymond Green. A lot of these guys are just talkative, but that's the way they play. They're passionate. I don't mind the passion, but the problem I have with him is he don't think. He don't think in the game. Like he makes plays that's got to go away, but the talent is by far off the chart. So Al Harris can bring a big brother attitude to him that I don't think John Holt could get a hold of. John Holt was more of a theory or idealist as a coach, where Harris can actually pull him inside the room and be like, man, I'm not going to tolerate you. And I need you to keep getting better. Harris is a no-nonsense guy. He's been in the league, and he played for Green Bay. Was he on that championship team?
You know what? And you know what? Shout out to my boy Nick Rhodey again. I was using this for just research purposes to have in my mental Rolodex, but was watching Nick's show. Shout out to just another year in Chicago with Nick Rhodey, man. But this is his playing career. 2-time Pro Bowl, 1-time All-Pro, 21 interceptions, 3 touchdowns. He was the Buccaneers 97-98, Eagles 98-2002, Packers 2003 to 2010, Dolphins 2010, Rams 2011. So he wasn't on that Super Bowl team, but he is praised up there in Green Bay Packer land, man. So the fact that I like what he did with over there with Stephon Gilmore and Bland and all those guys. So I want to see the talent that we already got here, like you said, because JJ is an All-Pro. JJ's a Pro Bowler. It's that number 2 corner that needs to be structured, that needs to be seen disciplined to let him know, like, look, bro, what you do is important. Like, you cost us yards. Like, you giving up the green, bro. You giving up the blades of grass. Like, we need to win a game and not lose a game. You might as well be, when you giving up yards like that, penalty after the penalty, you might as well be giving up points. And you putting your defense back, and you're not helping the team. So hopefully Al Harris gets here, he gets in his ear, lets him know how to be a professional. A lot of these guys are coming here talented, but they're not professional. They're not focused. They're not disciplined, and it takes a real player, ex-player, or a coach to get in these guys' heads, because a lot of these guys coming here with these egos. You know what I mean, Alan? CJ, like a lot of them got egos, thinking they can't nobody tell them nothing. I don't have to do nothing already. I already made my money. I'm in the NFL. But that's not the case, because until you win, you know what I mean, CJ? You're a loser, right? So right now, he's a loser, correct, CJ?
Exactly. I couldn't have said any way better.
Yeah. So anybody got any final thoughts they want to talk about Al Harris before we get to the next one? Because I didn't want to spend too much time in here tonight. But, anybody got any other thoughts they want to talk about Al real quick before we move on? Shout out to the 64 viewers in here, man. Appreciate you guys. And make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, and on YouTube. We appreciate it. But go ahead, Alan.
Nah, he's a good addition, man. I'm interested to see what he's gonna do with the Kevin Byard. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with him this season. Are we gonna go young on the back half as far as the safety? I think we can, because we got so much strength at the corners. I really would like to bring in another group of safeties, at least two more. I feel like we're not with Dennis Allen. He's going to bring a lot of people, and I don't think our safeties, the ones we got, they're not good for blitz heavy. They're zone safeties. I want some guys who can go out there and play with man.
Yeah, guys are playing man. Yeah. So we're going to keep it moving within the show, man. It's been a quick show, man. We had a guest, but he dropped out. His audio messed up, man. But shout out to Natty, Illinois, Andrew, for coming in here, man. He wanted to be a part of the podcast. He's been rocking with us on X, man. So he's really excited to get in here and talk football. We appreciate you coming, bro. We appreciate you sliding. So next time, bro, it's always the next time. It's always an invite. You can always pull up to the show, bro. But let's talk about the next hire on this list, man. Ceejay. JT Barrett. Now, if you guys don't know who JT Barrett was, this man was a dog at Ohio State, man. He was like the prototypical dual threat quarterback in college, bro. So the fact that they're getting pretty much not a clone, but somebody that has the same physical attributes that Caleb Williams has is enormous to me. He can probably speak Caleb Williams' language. He can probably speak Caleb Williams' his mentality. He can do a lot with Caleb Williams as far as what to do, what not to do, and for Caleb to understand what to do and what not to do with a dual threat quarterback. So, CJ, when you saw the Chicago Bears hire JT Barrett, what did you think about this hire, man?
I thought it was a great hire. Him being a former quarterback in college, I think, that can, he can probably whisper in Caleb's ear a little bit, help him out a little bit. Give him a little bit of criticism. Probably not too much, but just a little bit,
Right. Yeah.
But he brings a lot of experience, to the game.
Yeah. And I think that's Alan. We're going to add Alan back to the show. And I agree. So, Alan, man, like I said, man, this guy was he was pretty dope as a college quarterback, a dual threat, one of the first early ones, in the 2000s. So what do you think about this hire right here, JT Barrett?
Yeah, JT, man, like you were saying, man, he's decorated as a player. Injuries robbed him of his career. But I feel like he can do a lot with Caleb as far as a sounding board. He was a Gatorade player of the year in high school. I mean, JT Barrett was the real deal, man. So I feel like Caleb Williams can definitely lean on him. I feel like he can bring a lot of juice to that quarterback room, and everybody can learn. I mean, it's going to be a very, how I want to say, prosperous locker room, especially on the offensive side, because everything is so brand new. And I think when you got stuff that's brand new, everybody can learn. When it's not just old and lethargic, this locker, I feel like this offensive side, especially the quarterback and the wide receiver room, they got two good young position coaches. And so I feel like this is going to be a quality offense because you're going to have great guys as far as coaches. You're not gonna have buddy guys. You're gonna have people who can bring the best out of the players.
Yeah, man, and I couldn't say it no better because that's what we need. We need guys that can talk. Their resume backs them up. Like not only I can talk, but my resume backs up what I say. So this is JT Barrett's, pretty much football journey. Shout out to Nick Roddy over there. Just another year in Chicago, man. This is his stuff, but using it for my own purposes. So I had to get it because I was rushing to get in here to make a show. Have my old notes. So he was an NFL quarterback for 1 year, but before I get into the rest of his career. What the hell happened to him, Alan? What did he hurt?
Knee. He had a bad knee, man. He basically destroyed his knee. He hurt it his third year, and that's when the young man Haskins had came on as a true freshman. But that year, JT Barrett got hurt, and then he got drafted by the Bucks, I believe. I think he got drafted by the Bucks. Like, he did get in the NFL, but he was never the same, man. He just had a terrible knee injury. And you know how knee injuries is with the athletes. He was more of a dual threat quarterback. So you take away his legs, he wasn't gonna be, no superstar quarterback throwing the football.
Right. Black, thank you for that, because I didn't know what he tore. It's been so long ago, but he was an offensive assistant with the Lions 2022, assistant QB coach 2023, 2024. He was a national football champion, man, 2014. These are his awards: MVP 2016, 3-time QB of the year, 2014, 16, 17. This dude was a monster, CJ. And I remember this, man. He was a beast in college, bro. I thought he was really going to be something,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with you guys. I know he's going to bring something to the table for Caleb Williams' development. You know what I mean? He can even talk to him on an egotistical level. Like, look, bro, I was a college MVP 3 times. I was a college football champion 2014. So I'm just not anybody you could just, not talk to, bro. I'm one of them. I was him before I got my knee toe up on me. So, Caleb's going to bend that ear to a guy like this, man. So shout out to Ben Johnson for really putting some dudes, man, in this organization that come with some stuff, with some backbone, man, with some real careers, man. Whether it's from Atwaan Randle, whether it's Al Harris, whether it's Dennis Allen, man. Then you got JT Barrett. The dudes he brought in, bro, are some dudes with some good resumes. But with that being said, we're gonna get to the last part of the show. Shout out to the 64 people in here, man. If you haven't followed the CNG podcast on X, please do so. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, please do so. And on Facebook. Follow my guy, Alan, on Bears Lounge on X, man. Follow Alan, man. He's the expert on our show. He's the OG of the show. He's the football guy. Alan knows way more football than I could ever imagine, that I could ever hope for him to be on our show, man. It took us 3 years to find the third person, and Alan has been that football guy that I was dreaming about, man. So it's a blessing to have him on this show. So if you ever want to pick his brain about anything football related, man, he's an ex-football player, ex-O-lineman. Alan is the guy, man. He brings so much value to this show. But Alan, we're going to get to the last part of this show, man. We're going to get into this Declan Doyle dude. This guy right here, man, this thing's going around about his father. We're not going to get into that, man. This is not what we do. We don't stir the pot. It's not controversial we do over here. But the only thing I did find out that might be true or false is that he might be the nephew of Mike Dick, and nobody's confirmed that or denied that. I'll put the notes up on my X page about the guy who wrote it. He actually has credentials from 24/7 Sports, Clutch Sport Points, with all that crap. So I was saying, why would he put all these other facts about this man in the article, but then make up some shit at the end? I know the internet can do a lot of stuff, but I was just like, why make that up? But Alan, a lot of people are, a little bit wishy-washy about this hire right here, man. But so what do you think his position is going to be as the youngest guy on the team, as a young guy? I know he's getting mentored and groomed to be the next up and coming, probably, down the road. But what is he going to do here under Ben Johnson?
Well, he's going to learn under Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, you got to think about it. Ben Johnson, before he was Ben Johnson, had to be this young man right here. Like, Ben Johnson came up under John Shute. And for all our Bear fans, John Shute, he ain't the most decorated offensive coordinator. He was getting death threats. So But John Shute was a football guy. He was a very, I think, creative before his time OC. So Ben Johnson, he gives a lot of kudos to John Shute. So I'm not gonna knock this young man because he's 28. And if he is a part of the family of Mike Dicker, hell, I'm happy for it. Mike Dicker was a good coach. So
Right.
if he grew up in football like that, I want him on our staff. So I'm not gonna knock him for being that young. And nepotism is nepotism. NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, McDonald's, family and friends run the world, man.
Run the world, baby. Talk to him, Alan. Let him know, man, because a lot of people had an issue with it. Talking about the Rooney Rule is. I'm like, bro, we interviewed people under the Rooney Rule, bro. We interviewed David Shaw. We interviewed Eddie George, man. Like, nepotism plays a part in society, man. The owner of the Chicago Bears come from nepotism, man. The McCaskey family, bro, that's nepotism. That's nepotism. It's a part of life. It's a part of society, man. It's part of economics. So you can't hate on a young man, and he's probably good at his job. So we can't hate on a young man, man. I want to see what he can do as far as, because they would say he's going to come here. Oh, hold on. Shout out to Cuke on the mic. Quick on the mic. Quick on the mic, man. I follow him on YouTube. If you guys don't know who this guy is, bro, man, he's huge on YouTube, man. He follows us on the CNG podcast, man. And he told us a while ago he want to work with us during the season. So shout out to you for pulling up to the show, bro. Can't wait to work with you, down the road, man. I'm a fan before I even got into podcasting, before Ceejay even hit me up. I've been watching guys like you. I've been watching Hayes and them over there. I've been watching Pat the Designer, man. So the fact that somebody from that elk and those type of crews is in our podcast right now, bro, it's a very humbling thing, man. And I can't wait to work with you down the road, bro. We appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. But Ceejay, with that being said, what do you think about the last hire? Because I know one more hire is the offensive line coach. That domino hasn't failed. But what do you think about this? People hating on this young man, bro?
Everybody gonna find something to hate on somebody for. That I guess it's just the way the world is. But I don't think there's no reason to hate on this guy. There's no reason to hate on him. Like I said, he comes from Sean Payton's coaching staff. And I think that's a positive thing. So there's no reason to hate on him. I don't think so.
I don't think so either, man. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna go through a summary of the show. We talked about Dennis Allen. He's been hired as a defensive coordinator. Atwaan Randle, he's been here as the wide receiver coach, I think. Then we got Al Harris, the defensive guy, is going to help. Then we got JT Barrett as the QB coach, and then we got Declan Doyle. I think he's just he's the defensive guy to scout the defense and come up with creative ways and all that type of stuff. He got a crazy job, man. So, and I'm glad it's a young guy, Alan, that's doing that type of job and not somebody that's old. He's a young guy, so he sees the game different in a young man's eyes. So speak on that before we get out of here, man. How much is that valuable, having a young eye NFL guy?
Young ideas still are great, man. Everybody likes to hear young ideas, and I mean that because they're fresh. Nobody's ever heard it. It's just a matter of implementation and application. So if they can implement what he brings, a little bit of what Ben Johnson knows, and you put it all together, man, and Caleb Williams' strengths and things like that, and also give you, okay, this is what we did with Bo Nix. Not saying Bo Nix is better than Caleb, but the things we did with Bo Nix. They really stretched Bo Nix. I would say his rookie year, like they really got the most out of Bo Nix. So if we get the most out of Caleb Williams, we might go to the NFC Championship game because of.
No, just go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, I mean, if his talent is Super Bowl, Caleb Williams' talent is like a mix. So I really believe, man, we can get the best out of Caleb, and that will bring our team to at least a playoff caliber team, man. So, I mean, we ain't seen half of Caleb Williams. We haven't seen half of it.
Yeah, man, and I agree, man. And I'm loving the things that they surrounded Caleb Williams by, man. An offensive-minded head coach that's young. He wants to compete. Ben Johnson came in here and straight up said, man, he might be a psychopath. I actually might have underrated this man's psychopathism. The man said, why run from the NFC North? Let's run through it. He's not scared of Ben Campbell, bro. Dan Campbell. That's so dope to me. He didn't run away. He said, no, I'm gonna stay right here. And I'm gonna beat y'all ass every Sunday, 2 times in a year. And I love what he said to Caleb Williams in front of Caleb Williams, like, hey, I like you, man. You're a good quarterback, but guess what? It's gonna take more than you to do this thing, to get this thing done. That right there set the boundary and set the tone for the Chicago Bears team. Nobody is above a team, and it's one man, one band, one sound. So with that being said, we're gonna get up out of here, man. We're gonna get up out of here. Hold on, you guys. I'm messing around with the with the layouts, man. My bad. I'm trying to show us some love. Look, it's weird these days. I don't know what's going on with this, man. StreamYard be tweaking. So with that being said, CJ, what are your final thoughts about this Ben Johnson Avengers level staff, man, before we get up out of here, bro?
I mean, he's done an excellent job on putting some great minds around Caleb Williams and around the offense of this football team and the defense in this football team as well. So he's done one hell of a job.
And I agree. Alan, what's your final thoughts, man? Final words on this staff on this episode, man, with these hires, bro, before we go.
Hey, man, I like the hires, man. They're fresh. They're incomplete right now because we still need our OC. We need a couple of defensive guys. I'm proud. We didn't talk about Hightower keeping his job.
Go ahead, man. We go ahead, man. Speak on it, bro.
Yeah, Hightower deserved to keep his job, man.
We got unlimited air minutes, man. We pay for the max on here. Go ahead.
No doubt. Hey, look, I think Hightower deserved to keep his job, man. I wish we'd have kept Thomas Brown, but we can't keep everybody. But Hightower, he's a solid special teams coach. Maybe we can add a little bit of his expertise, and because he knows the roster, the special team coach, he knows everybody on the roster. So Ben Johnson, he's going to be vital to Ben Johnson's evaluation because he's a special teams coach. He can give him an in-depth view on each player and who we gonna keep and who we gonna possibly let go. So he's a vital resource, man. I think Hightower is going without saying, but I think he's gonna be a quality coach like he's always been. And
man. Shout out to. Go ahead, Alan. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm done.
No, I was just gonna say shout out to Hightower, man. He was the one guy from the Chicago Bears that survived the fire, man, because we couldn't wait for Chris Morgan to get his ass up out of here, bro. I damn near jumped for joy. Yeah. And what you say about Chris Morgan, Alan? He shouldn't be close to coaching nobody. Where?
No, in high school, he shouldn't be nowhere near offensive line, anything. Pop Warner, anything. He is atrocious. Good. Oh man, next subject, man. He makes my skin hurt. So I just can't. He's difficult to even think about.
Man, for real. So with that being said, everybody, shout out to the 64 people in the live right now. Shout out to the people that liked it on Facebook. Shout out to the people watching on YouTube. Shout out to the people that's watching on Facebook, X, and everything else, man. We appreciate everybody coming here tonight. This is probably going to be one of our last podcasts, but we do Twitter Spaces. Whenever Alan say, "Gee, I want to do a Twitter Space," we do it. You know what I mean? CJ, we want to do a Twitter Space. We just do them. We don't waste our time coming in here just doing podcasts and doing Twitter Spaces for no reason. We're grown men. We have lives. So when we come in here, we really want to get our work done. We really want to get to the facts. We want to get to the points of what everybody wants to hear. So when you come to our show, just know we're not going to waste your time. We're going to give you the best show we can give you. And we'll see you when we see y'all. So with that being said, I'm G Walker, one half of the CNG podcast.
I'm CJ, the other half of the CNG podcast.
And I'm Alan, the third of the CNG podcast.
And we out of here. Peace.